Hello and welcome to my channel. This is the channel where I assist aspiring project managers and practicing project managers to succeed. My name is Oscar Mbina. I'm a certified program and project manager. In this video, I'm going to take you through the 10th episode, which is the last episode of the lessons that I've been sharing with you on this channel. If you want to see my other episodes, you can check on my channel. In this video, I'm going to share with you the lessons that I've picked for change management in a project, which is one of the critical components of project management. So let's get started. In this video, lesson number 101. Flexibility is very important. As a project manager, when you're running a project, you should be open to new ideas, you should be open to new technology, you should be open to new concepts, you should be open to new techniques. That is very important. Even approaches, they might be new. So you must be very flexible. Accept any change in the project that is going to benefit the project. It's not change just for the sake of change, but the change that is going to benefit the project. That is very important for a project to succeed. Should be open. Lesson number 102. Don't neglect the change management in a project. This can also include the human side of it. The human side change of things is the most difficult part of it because you might face some resistance. So if you don't manage change properly, you are likely going to face some resistance from not just your team. It could be resistance from your organization. It could be resistance from your client side. It could be resistance from your own team members. It could be resistance from contractors, from vendors, from regulatory authority, or any stakeholder that is involved or that has got interest in that project. So change management is very important, and make sure you start from the beginning. That is why in initiation, you are supposed to create the change management strategy. That is going to help you throughout the project. So you should always make sure that you don't forget to implement the change management process in all your projects, even the current one or your future projects. Always make sure that change management is implemented from the beginning until and even after project closure. You might find that you still need to apply some of the change management so that people can appreciate what is coming out of this project, what has been delivered by the project, how does it affect their day-to-day work, how does it affect their efficiency, and so on and so forth. That is very critical. Because, lesson 103, you should always embrace change. Change is inevitable. You cannot go to an environment and expect everything to be the same for the number of years that are going to come. You have seen what has happened with COVID. People were running projects, but COVID came, 8 months, 6 months, no one was traveling. So you find that most of the projects were affected, especially the ones which required people to be on site. So change is inevitable. It will always be there. You should embrace it. I've seen some projects where after running the project for 60% of the project, there was change of the requirements, there was change of the market. So therefore, there was no need to continue developing the same product, which you know for sure it is not going to perform in the market. There's no market for that product. So changes can come throughout the project. So you should be able to embrace change as you move from one stage to the other, as you move from one phase to the other, as you move from one project to the other. You should always know that change is always there. It is one of the only constant, it's one of the constants that you should always expect in the project management field. I hope you have enjoyed this video so far. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button so that you are the first person to be notified each time a new video is uploaded on this channel. Lesson number 104. You should always plan for resistance. It's very natural that when you try to introduce something new, you always get a certain section either of the community, of stakeholders, or of members who are going to resist that particular approach. So it is very important that you should always plan for it. I can give you a good example. When I was involved in one of the software projects, I was approached by the head of department. Why? Because they heard that the software that we're implementing, it was going to make that department redundant. They had about 7 members. So to them, they could see it as a game changer in terms of their jobs. Their job security was threatened. So therefore, they started fighting the implementation of that project. So that the software is not implemented, they also retain their jobs. But however, we had a very strong project sponsor who had to sit with them, sensitize them, even giving them assurance that they're going to be reassigned to other departments. They're not going to lose their job. So planning for resistance is very important, especially if the project is going to be a life-changing project for most members, for most clients, for most beneficiaries. If that is going to be the case, you are likely going to get resistance, not just during the execution of the project, even from the beginning of the project. You are going to face some resistance in between the project phases. You also face some resistance. Even towards the closure, you also face some resistance. Even when you're handing over to operations, you also face some resistance. So that is one of the lessons that I've learned. You should always plan for resistance. Resistance can come from anywhere. It can come from your organization. It can come from the project team. It can come from executive. It can even come from the client side. So you should always plan for that. Lesson number 105. If you want to manage change properly, you should always involve users from the beginning. I've seen some projects where users are actually called in towards the end to certify some results, to certify some process, to certify some documents, to certify some deliverable. That is a big mistake. That is why you normally face resistance. Imagine the previous lesson, I've given you the previous lesson example where the whole department was going to disappear because of the new software that was being implemented. So if that is going to be the case, then resistance is going to be very high. But if you include them from the beginning, you allow them to contribute to the build of the product, to the build of the deliverables. You allow them to contribute to the changes in processes, to the changes in procedures. You'll find that in terms of mindset change, it becomes very easy for those users. Don't make a mistake of involving users right at the end of the project. That is not good for the project. That is not the best practice. So you must do it right. That's why I'm sharing with you this lesson. Lesson number 106 in terms of change management. You should be able to communicate the why part of the project. I have seen some organizations who are quick or who are planning to quickly launch a specific product in the market. Instead of explaining the changes that are going to come in, they ignore that part. Once you do that, people, they don't know why you want to do something. So you find you might even fail to deliver the project, or the project is going to be delayed. The project is going to go past its cost baseline, and so on and so forth. So the best is to communicate, why do you want to do the project? What is going to be the outcome of the project? How are people going to benefit? How is the organization going to benefit? All that information should be explained upfront, not towards the end of the project or not towards the end of launching the product. From the beginning, if you explain to people from the beginning, you are giving them time to conceptualize, to appreciate, and to accept that that project is necessary for the benefit of the organization. So that is very important. Lesson number 107. You should always train before you go live. Most of these products we're using, most of the tools that we're using, at one point or the other, someone had to train you either to use it, either to operate it, or even to take care of it for maintenance, and so on and so forth. If it is software, someone has taught you how to use a specific software, how to go through the menus, what you're supposed to capture, and so on and so forth. So if you're a project manager, from the beginning, you should always plan to train the end users of whatever you're working on, the end users or the beneficiaries of the product or the deliverables that you're going to produce in a project, the beneficiaries of, if it's going to be one project, if it's going to be one product, you may, if it's going to be one product, you need to make sure that the beneficiaries of that product, they are well trained, not just to appreciate it, but even also to operate. I've seen in the software industry, if you don't train your users, the product is very good, bugs are not so much, it was tested by the project team, but the end users were not trained. So therefore they cannot use it. They will just sit and watch. When you start asking them, why are they not using the system? Then that's when you get to discover that they don't even know how to navigate. They don't even know how to access certain reports. They don't even know how to they don't even know how to access information which they can use to serve the clients. So training the users, the beneficiaries of the project products or project results or goals should be done, and should be done in honesty. Lesson number 108, which is the last of these episodes, is you should always monitor the post-launch adoption. This is part of change management. You might have people accepting whatever is happening, whatever is coming out of the project, all the way up to the project closure. It might surprise you that after handing over the project to operations, people, they'll stop using whatever you developed. Either they have their own way or workarounds of doing their work, or they're even trying to do it the old way, which is not part of the new product. I faced it myself when I did one of the software projects. There was a system which was developed specifically for loan processing. I could see everyone was interested, the hype was good, everyone was accepting everything during the project. Then after launching, 2 days to 3 days, I think it's 3 days after launching, I began to see some members using or going back to using Excel. So out of interest, I was asking them. There was an 8-month period of running a project to produce the system. The system was tested, accepted by the organization. It's now in use. Then why are you going back to Excel? The issue was, it's a bit complicated. We're not trained. This system is not efficient. I have no control. In Excel, I have control of formulas, macros, and so on and so forth. So that is feedback that the post-launch of the project has to be monitored. The post-launch of the project, it must also be improved. You must always get that feedback so that you are able to make sure that people, they utilize the benefits of the project. There was no wastage in running that project. So that is very, very important. That brings us to the end of these episodes. If you want me to create any additional videos based on the lessons that we have discussed earlier, or you have got any specific questions or any clarification you might need based on this video, let me know in the comment section below.